All right. So I hope we have everybody here and let's get started. So thank you, first of all, for being here today. My name is Richa Modak. I'm a registered dietitian, and we are here to talk about health, wellness, and you live stronger, live longer. At any point, if you cannot hear me or cannot see the screen, please send a message. I'm sure Alka and Savita will catch that and let me know. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to try to find my laser pointer and you get started. All right. Okay. So first of all, let me go a little bit over who I am. Oh my God. So I hope you can see that side of my screen. Otherwise, you can just, minimize the thumbnail videos so that you can see the whole thing, I think. So, all right. So first of all, I have a master's in microbiology and biodiversity from the University of Pune. And I have a master's in public health in human nutrition and dietetics from University of Michigan School of Public Health. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist with the Academy. I am also a certified personal trainer with the American College of Sports Medicine. And now I'm currently pursuing my degree in Doctor of Clinical Nutrition from Rutgers School of Health Professions. So today we are going to address the basics of health and wellness and what is new in this field. Primitive dietitians used to tell people to count calories and to make sure that people ate too little so that they could lose weight. But now this field has rapidly evolved, and so I have all the new things, new trends to share with you today. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the wellness field. So when we talk about weight loss, when we talk about health, when we talk about any of those, we are not just addressing one dimension in your life. All of these factors come together and they contribute to your overall health. So I'm going to very quickly go over all of these different colors that you see here. So let's start with the intellectual, which is the orange one over here. So this is basically your intellectual growth, expanding your knowledge, your skills in the areas of interest that you have or that apply to you. The second one is the yellow one, which is emotional. Now, this one talks about this. This is important because this is not just about understanding your own feelings, respecting and evaluating your own feelings. It is also about understanding what others are feeling around you. So if you understand yourself and if you understand others, it kind of drives how a conversation you have with that person, how that conversation goes, whether it is one of those rough ones or whether it is something helpful and something that will not stress you out. So also emotional wellness is very important in that if you need help, you should be able to identify that you need help and then reach out to the appropriate professionals. Then you have the green one here, which is the social aspect of wellness or social dimension of wellness, which means having a healthy relationship, not just with your family, but with everybody in your life, and to be able to identify and eliminate toxic relationships. Okay, because they are going to affect you negatively. And it also means to contribute to the community. The next here we have the blue one, which is the occupational wellness, which is, preparing for or participating 100% in your work, contributing your skills and talents to your work, feeling personally rewarded and meaningful, and making informed financial decisions, identifying personal boundaries. So this is another dimension that we really talk about when we do counseling sessions with our patients. And the pink one here is spiritual, which is finding purpose in life, and meaning in life, but without the influence of any religion. Just you as a person. What do you feel? What are your thoughts? Can you identify what is good, what is bad? Can you define what is right, what is wrong? That is spiritual wellness. And spiritual wellness also covers environmental awareness. Do you know what is happening in the environment around you that you are such an integral part of? And the last one here is the physical dimension. And this is what we are going to talk to you about today in detail. Now, your physical dimension covers your diet, your nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, all these factors that affect your physical wellness. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about your physical wellness. So like I said, we are going to talk about diet and nutrition, exercise and physical activity, and sleep and stress management. Okay. All right. So I know that mostly when you go and listen to any presentations, you're just generally listening to a person say that don't eat fatty foods or don't eat this, don't eat that. But that's not what we are doing today. Like I said, this field has evolved. It has come a lot. I mean, it is really, really progressing every single day. And so today I'm actually going to share with you a case study of a patient that we were very recently successful. And I think this is a very typical case study that you can all identify with, not personally, but at least someone in your family or someone who might have gone through this. Okay. So this is a very real patient. So we are not going to identify them. So let's call them A. Now she is a female who is 60 years old, and she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes mellitus. But let's see what happened to her before this diagnosis. Okay, so she's a mom, and she did not have a set health routine because she was a typical mom. She was taking care of her kids. She was going to work, so everything revolved around that: her work, her time with her kids, everything else, cooking, all that. And she had no professional nutrition guidance ever in her life. She trained with random trainers, or she would go on YouTube and do some random exercise video. And sometimes she would take WhatsApp health advice, like, you get those forwards that say, hey, so, if you take this supplement, it really helps in weight loss. And so she would do that. So all these things happened to her, and all these things happened to a lot of people. And yet, and this is what is unhealthy lifestyle, by the way. So this is the definition of unhealthy lifestyle. Even though we think that, well, I'm doing all these things, right? I exercised, I was trying to eat right, I tried to find information, but it is still unhealthy lifestyle. And that's what we are going to talk about today. So she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes mellitus in 2016 with an A1C of 11%. Now, if you or anybody in your family have diabetes, you know that this is a pretty high A1C to have. That's very high sugar. Okay, so clearly she had diabetes way before 2016. She was just diagnosed in 2016. And diabetes, being a silent disease, most often goes undiagnosed for years before you start to see other complications of it. So immediately her doctors put her on glucose lowering medications and statins because she also had dyslipidemia, that is, she had higher cholesterol, triglycerides, and LDL. So they put her on glucose lowering medications and statins until 2019. Now, what happened in 2019 was that she started to see, so the doctors were obviously checking periodically for her blood reports. And what happened is that up until the time that they gave her these metformin or whatever medication she was on, it was working. Her sugar was kind of normal, but now it had started to go back up. And that is normal. This is what happens. See, when in diabetes, the whatever dose is given to you works for a certain time, and then again your body starts to need more of that dose in order to keep the blood sugar in control. Okay, so this is very typical. And she started getting really irritated with that because she always thought that she was healthy or she was doing the right thing. So she was really disturbed with this whole thing. And she didn't want to be the person who has those peel kits that the peel they have these tablet kits and things like that where you can paste the, or sometimes they already have that weekdays on it, and then you have all the pills in that. So she didn't want to be one of those persons. And this is how we got introduced. And she did a TLC with me in 2019. TLC stands for therapeutic lifestyle change. Okay. So when we started in 2019, within a few months, we got her back to the lower doses of her glucose lowering medications. But in 2021, and she reported this to me in July end or August, that's the last I heard from her, her A1C had dropped to 5.8%, and she is completely off of all her medications now. Okay, so this was a big success story for both of us because honestly, it required a lot of work from her end. Okay, and a lot of work from my end because I had to continuously keep adjusting her program. And I'm going to talk to you about what exactly we did. So what we did is we modified her nutrition to what she required at that present moment. So when she was on metformin, we had to modify her nutrition, her diet chart accordingly. And then we added carbohydrate control. And then as and when they started weaning her off the medicine, we started to modify her diet more and more. We also modified her exercise to this case. So I am, like I said, I'm a personal trainer. I am also a yoga instructor. I have multiple certifications in different fitness um, um, areas. And what I did is that I combined all of those, and we made a very special exercise routine for her that worked only for her. It wasn't something random. It wasn't something general. We also made changes to her sleep routine, and this was important because this really helped. We for her, we did meditation for stress management, which also really worked for her. Okay, so like I said, we are going to talk about these exact three things that affect your physical dimension of wellness: diet, exercise, sleep, and stress. And so this is what we are going to talk to you about in this presentation. This is exactly the therapy, the program that we designed for her. And today, I might not be, obviously will not be able to give you a very specific program because I do not have your blood reports. I do not have any information on you. So we are going to keep it more generic. So let's break it down. And let's talk about diet and nutrition. Now, diet and nutrition, the hype. So imagine you're standing at a grocery store and you have all those magazines on the shelf. And these are the typical headlines that will catch your eye. Fat diets. What do celebrities do to trim that belly fat? You see that and you end up buying that book. Carbs, good or evil? Supplements, creatine, hypertrophy, protein shakes, diet pills, the generic advice, Dr. Google, lose weight in 5 days. So when it comes to nutrition and lifestyle, you get all this advice from all these different places, and it gets really confusing. It's sometimes, people even question, do we really need to talk to somebody about nutrition? I mean, it's food. You've all been dealing with it, right? Why do you need to talk to somebody about it? So you have all these people that claim to be the experts, nutritionists, coaches of all kinds. I please request everybody to turn themselves on mute. Thank you. Okay, so registered dietitians, celebrity nutritionists, trainers, instructors, then magazines, media, and these days actors and film stars have also started to talk a lot about nutrition. So whom should you listen to? That is the big question, right? So the important part about nutrition is that everything, your weight loss, your health, 70 to 80% of it comes from what you eat. Okay, so you have to choose your provider correctly when you're talking about nutrition. And the first step to health is that, and this is very important, so please give me 100% of your attention for this one. When it comes to health, it is very important to become a part of the solution rather than being a part of the problem. Now, I don't really know who said this, but this is really, really key here. You have to be the part of the solution. But when you reach out to people who are not professionals in that field, then you're becoming the part of the problem. Okay, so you might feel like you're, okay, I'm losing weight, but are you losing the right kind of weight? Are you losing your fat weight, or are you losing your muscle weight? You don't know that. So if you're losing your muscle weight, then you're becoming the part of the problem. So it's always best to go to somebody who is a professional. Okay, so a nutritionist or a coach or all those trainers, they don't have a dietetic background. They could be somebody who have no degree at all in nutrition, or they might have a degree in some completely unrelated field, like they might have done something, I don't know, in commerce or something which is not related to nutrition, or people who go online and get a certification, or someone who get a certificate from an unregulated program just so that they can peddle, supplements and products. Then people who do not understand the science behind nutrition, what they are recommending. And trainers, by the way, are not qualified to give nutrition advice. Now, because I did my training certification myself, I know that every book that we have to study clearly states that you are not supposed to give nutrition advice. You are supposed to go to an RD for nutrition advice. Okay, now because I'm an RD, that's okay for me to talk about this. So why am I telling you all this? So let's say, if I asked you right now, what is the healthier choice between strawberries and this really yummy blueberry cheesecake that I found somewhere in Ann Arbor? So I'm sure, I mean, I don't even think I need to ask you guys, but because I'm sure the obvious answer here is strawberries. So let me ask you about this one. There is bar food, and then there is a homemade salad, and those croutons are homemade too. I made them myself. So again, I would say, I'm sure everyone would say that the salad is the healthier choice, right? So why, obviously, I told you about my educational background when I introduced myself earlier. So if I went to school all these years, clearly I did not learn that, okay, this is healthy and this is not, right? Clearly we do something else. We study for all these years. What we do is that we are allied healthcare professionals. We need to have a master's degree in nutrition, and we are regarded as the experts in the field of nutrition. Okay, registered dietitian, or also called as registered dietitian nutritionist. That RD and RDN, those are the credentials that we get. They're not just abbreviations that I'm using for convenience. Okay. RDs also complete a clinical internship. That is, the rotations that we do in hospitals. We pass a national registration exam. Otherwise, we're not registered. We have to do annual continuing education to maintain those credentials. Otherwise, we can't call ourselves RD. And we also have to do additional coursework and certifications to specialize in our fields. So after all this, we can't be the people who tell you don't eat fatty food, because you already know that. That's not what we do. Okay, and that is one of the misconceptions that people have about RDs. So yeah, I know what they're going to tell us. But RDs, what they do is they take your information, your personal information, and then they give you a plan that is customized to what you need, what problem you need to fix. Okay, so credentials for any provider, when you look at credentials, so if you go to a doctor who is a doctor of medicine who has an MD, you need to know if the credentials are real, if the certifications are valid. And that is why, I don't know if you can see on the wall behind me, but we put these certificates up there just because you would know that we have those. We are truly credentialed from good universities, because knowledge and experience counts, right? Which university did you go to? What is the ranking of that university? So if you are going to talk about nutrition and lifestyle to anybody, to a professional person, then your answer is to talk to a registered dietitian nutritionist. Okay. So now let's go further and assess some of the different reasons why you need to see an RD sometimes. Maybe you want help managing diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, or other chronic diseases. Or you have digestive or gastrointestinal problems. You're pregnant, you're trying to get pregnant, or you are a new mom and you have questions about lactation. That is a big thing that I get a lot, because people tell that, no, 4 months is when you start solid, 6 months is when you start solid. What's the right answer? You have food allergies or intolerances. You're experiencing disordered eating patterns. You need to gain weight or you need to lose weight. You are caring for an aging parent or patient. You want practical lifestyle advice. You want to improve your performance in sports. So these are some of the reasons why you can come and see an RD, and they can help you with your health goals. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the generic advice. So many of you have seen this or probably are already familiar with this, but the important question to ask yourself is, do you follow this every day? So this is something that's going to help you. The USDA dietary guidelines say that when you sit down to eat and when you look at your plate, 50% of what you're eating at every meal need to be vegetables and fruits. So the vegetables can be cooked, they can be in the form of a salad. Fruit can be something that you eat like a dessert at the end of your meal, but half of what you eat, half of every meal needs to be vegetables and fruits. And the other half is divided into whole grains, which means whole wheat flour, any, like if you're eating pasta or any of that, then you need to go for the whole flour, like whole grain flour, pasta or breads. Okay, and the other part is protein. Now, many of you eat animal protein, many of you do not eat animal protein. If you're not eating animal protein, then beans, lentils, dairy, they are good sources of protein. But that has to be, so that is, you need to understand that half of your plate is going to be vegetables and fruits, no matter what meal it is. Okay. The other important thing is water. Are you getting adequately hydrated? Most important question to ask yourself. So let me share a few more tips of what you can do in terms of your daily diet and nutrition to maintain a healthy weight. Manage your portion sizes. So this is especially applicable to when you're eating your snacks. So many times I see that, well, I'm eating skinny pop, for example, it's popcorn. It claims that it does not have too many calories. So I just sit with a big bag and I start eating without considering how much I'm eating. So many times I eat the whole bag down. That's not okay. That's like eating too many additional calories than your body even needs. Okay, so managing portion sizes is a very important technique. So when you are eating, it is important to sit down, focus on your plate, and eat only until you are satiated, you're full. Don't try to finish everything just because it is there. Add a variety in your meals. Many a times people go for fad diets and then they end up eating the same thing every day. And then one day they get so bored and then it just blows up. Okay. So don't do that. Add a variety to your meals. Make sure that you're eating everything. Make sure that you're eating healthy. Just pick the healthy choices. Now, try to eat more fruits and vegetables. This is something very obvious to a lot of people, but you would be surprised how many people say, I just don't like fruit. I don't want to eat it. So this is something you need to learn. Okay, you need to make sure, are you aware? Do you have fruit every day in the house that you're finishing? Do you go every weekend to the grocery store and say, oh, I'm out of fruits, I need to get some more? That's what I mean by, you need to be aware. Today, you probably know most of this advice because, like I said, it is generic, but you want to be more aware of what you're doing. Okay. So limit junk food is another obvious suggestion, but keep healthy snacks around. This is very important. So when you are in that grocery store and when you're shopping, you want to eat a biscuit or a cookie with your cup of tea, so you just have it in the pantry, but again, not really needed. So if you just keep healthy snacks around, you're going to eat healthy snacks. If you buy these other snacks and if they end up in your pantry, you're going to get them out and you're going to eat them. So to avoid doing that, avoid eating those, just don't buy them to begin with. It's a very important trick. Limit sugary and caffeinated beverages. A lot of people end up drinking that more than water. Make it convenient to eat right. Don't skip meals. That's not a very good idea unless you're doing intermittent fasting. But if you are doing intermittent fasting, please talk to a registered dietitian about what kind of intermittent fasting will suit you personally. It's not something that, it's not one size fits all. Okay. But remember to indulge every once in a while. Don't avoid anything. When we say that certain foods are not healthy for you, that's true, they're not. So if you eat too much of it, it's definitely not healthy. But if you happen to have a cake on your birthday, that's all right. It's fine. It's not poison either. Okay, so we need to understand that there is no food that is bad. It's just that some foods, it's better to not indulge too frequently. Drink enough water. We've gone over that, but this is very, very important. So I know that a lot of my patients come to me and say that, hey, so how do you have some resource that you can give us? Like, I don't need a full-blown counseling session, but I want a resource where I can track what I do. So what I did is I put together this program, and in that program, I talk to, I've actually written things down that I would usually talk to you in a counseling session. And what I do is that, so this program is available on Amazon, and it actually guides you. It gives you complete control over what you're eating, what your nutrition plan is going to be. It teaches you how to design your own plan. It teaches you how to record everything. So imagine that this is something like a paperback app. Instead of like recording everything in your phone, it actually stays with you. The other advantage of this thing is that it has 2 levels of exercise program. Okay, so I think the level 1 is 8 weeks and level 2 is 8 weeks. So it's a total of 16 weeks. So this is something that I would definitely look at. It is only $25. It is totally worth your money. If you go to my website, which is www.richamodak.com, and click the tab that says products on it, it shows you this Amazon link. It will just take you to Amazon and it will show you this program. So this is something that you can consider if you want. So with that, let's go on to the next aspect of it, which is exercise and physical activity. I do not know, and I cannot see any of you right now, which is really, I don't really like that, because I usually like to talk to people when I can see their face, but that's all right. So with exercise and physical activity, usually whenever I say that, most people go like, yeah, not something that I'm that interested in. Or some people are like, yeah, I'm totally into it. So I don't know what kind of people, which of you actually love exercise and which of you don't. But so in this cartoon over here, we can see that the physician is telling this person that, no, it's not water. You seem to be retaining food. So exercise is an independent factor, an independent variable that affects your overall health. Okay, so you do require certain amounts of exercise, cardio, and resistance training per week for extended health benefits. So what are the recommendations by the CDC? The CDC says that you need 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity. So 150 minutes is kind of the same as doing 30 minutes exercise for 5 days. Okay, so it's not that much. But they also say that you need to add at least 2 days of resistance training to that, to those 150 minutes. Okay. So cardiovascular exercises. So when I say moderate intensity aerobic activity, what does that mean? Examples here are slow jogging, swimming, riding a bicycle with minimal activity. Those would be your examples of moderate intensity aerobic activity. If you're a fast walker, it counts as well. Vigorous intensity aerobic activities are the ones like dancing, jogging, running, swimming laps, bicycle riding on a hill, those kinds, they are very vigorous. So those are the ones that you can go for. So the idea is that I know that most people wear a Fitbit these days, so you know that your heart rate is elevated. But without a Fitbit, you should be able to understand that if you're breaking a sweat, a real sweat, not because of the heat, but because of your activity, and if your heart rate is really elevated, just measure your pulse, just feel your pulse. You can feel it, that it is really, it's elevated. Then you will know that you are achieving what you need to achieve in terms of intensity of these activities. So muscle strengthening. Now this cartoon here says that the handle on your recliner does not count as an exercise machine. So for muscle strengthening, I know that a lot of people do not like to go to the gym, but let's just look at all the options that you have here to strengthen and to tone your muscles. One of them is yoga, which is amazing because it uses your body weight. You can have resistance bands, but I'll caution you that if your resistance bands are too old, sometimes they tend to snap. So you might want to exercise caution there. Free weights, dumbbells are the best. You can just go to any store, get them. You don't have to go to some crazy range. You can just get the ones that you are comfortable with and keep them in your house. Machines, if you're going to the gym, you can just use any of the machines over there. One thing I would say is that if you are going to the gym, most gyms have trainers over there. So if you do not know how to use a machine, you should definitely go to the front desk and say that, hey, I need help with the machines. I don't know how to use them. I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. Don't do something randomly, otherwise you're going to injure yourself. You need to exercise, but you don't have to injure yourself when you do that. Okay. So now, do I have to exercise? Yes, you do. Why? Because exercise will help you maintain your weight, healthy weight. Okay, you will reduce the risk of metabolic syndrome, dyslipidemia, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and also research says that exercising regularly will reduce the risk of certain types of cancers. Exercise also helps you reduce stress and it improves your mental health. And it obviously helps improve your muscles and bones. So all these systems that are going to be affected by your exercise, ultimately your body is one whole thing, right? So these systems, they're all interdependent. And when exercise works on something, it's going to be beneficial for the rest of your body as well. So eating right and regular exercise add healthy years to your life. Medicines, on the other hand, are just going to add years to your life. You might be just bedridden, you might not be enjoying yourself. But if you eat right and you exercise regularly, it's healthy years. And that's what you have to aim for, not just years, right? So let's go over to the last part of the physical dimension of wellness, which is stress and sleep. So now stress is unavoidable. We all have stress. But what can we do? What are the few strategies that really help? Eating healthy meals, believe it or not, it does help you relieve your stress or deal with it in a better way. Exercising regularly and getting enough sleep. These three are the top ways that you can keep your stress at bay. Also, you can prioritize your daily tasks. You need to learn to say no. Now, when we do a counseling session, we talk about all of these different aspects, but we customize them to whoever person is coming to us. And this is one of the things that I really teach people, to say that it's okay to say no. It's okay to understand that this is your boundary. If you're pushed beyond that, it's going to affect you in different ways. So learn to say no. Okay. And if you feel like you cannot deal with something, you cannot cope with something, get professional help. The activities that can help you when you feel really stressed out is music, dancing, yoga, meditation. And sometimes if you're a writer, you can even try to journal it, so that also helps in arranging your stress, or, arranging how you can cope with your stress in your own head. And let's talk about sleep now. You need at least 8 hours of sleep each night. Now, when we talk about sleep, so our sleep is in 4 stages, okay? And we need that. So one sleep cycle is 4 stages, and we need all those stages for us to call it quality sleep. So let's say a person goes to bed at 10 o'clock, but they're just playing with their phone, or they're just not able to sleep, and then they slept somewhere at around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they had to wake up at 6 o'clock. Then that sleep is not called quality sleep. So unless until you're actually asleep and you're going through all those 4 stages, we don't consider that as quality sleep. Now, when you're sleep deprived, it is one of the major reasons for gaining weight. It compromises your immune system, and also it affects your memory and concentration. Immune system compromises not something that you want right now. We are still in the middle of the pandemic. Okay, so make sure that you're not sleep deprived. It's very important. To help you to sleep regularly, you might want to establish like a sleep week schedule. Now, typically people have that because of their work, but on weekends it just gets completely messed up because you don't want to get up early out of bed. And I understand that. I completely empathize with it. But if you're a person who is struggling to go to bed, then you might not want to deviate from your routine even on the weekends. And avoid screen time while in bed because it disrupts your circadian rhythm. And exercise regularly. That really helps you sleep well. Eating well-balanced regular meals keeps your stomach, your gastrointestinal system peaceful, which also helps you sleep really well. Okay, so let's come to a quick summary. I was trying to keep this short so that we can make it more interactive. So let's talk about what we looked at in this entire presentation. First is eat right. Focus on the food choices and portions. Remember the slide we talked about with that plate and all the vegetables and fruits in it. Drink plenty of water, very important. Aim to attain a healthy weight. Don't just go for I really want to lose weight, so I just want to lose weight. Don't do that. We want you to be at a healthy weight. We want you to only lose your fat weight, not your muscle weight. Okay. Do not count calories. It never works. It never worked in the past. It's not going to work now. Do not engage in fat diets. Exercise regularly in addition to your physical activity, which means that you need to be physically active through the day, but you need to exercise. So, if you say that, hey, so I just went for a walk today, which was like, a leisurely walk, that's not exactly exercise. When you exercise, you're doing something particular. You're training some muscle group, or you're training your cardiovascular system. Okay, but just going for a walk is not exactly exercise. Focus on maintaining your muscle mass and your cardiorespiratory fitness. So by doing resistance training and doing a cardio, and get 8 hours of quality sleep every day. Okay, and learn to tackle stress without overwhelming yourself. If you can't cope, just reach out to a professional. When in doubt, talk to a credentialed health professional. And now I'm talking about all of these things. So if you can't sleep, you need to contact sleep medicine. If you are stressed, you need to contact a counselor or psychiatrist, anyone. If you cannot deal with your food and nutrition, you need to talk to your registered dietitian. So you need to go to a credentialed health professional for whatever health problems you have. Keep it natural, keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with all these things. Live happy and strong and live long just by following these things. Believe me, it works. So thank you for watching. I hope I have not gone over time, but if you have any more questions, you feel free to ask. And also, if you want more information and videos, just go to my website, and you can follow me on @modern wellness on Facebook and Instagram. So on Facebook, we usually do a lot of updates or share a lot of information. It's free information, so you can just follow us over there. Okay, so I'm gonna, I guess, stop sharing now. And I'll let someone else take over.
So if anybody has any question, go ahead and ask, unmute yourself, or you can post it in the chat. Who wants to go first?
Hi, Richa, this is Savita. I had a question. Obviously, I don't know if you know, but I am going through menopause. Is there anything that I should avoid, or what kind of suggestions that you can make to make the the journey smoother, I guess?
So again, for menopause, most women go through a lot of different symptoms, but in general, I would say that, Savita, what happens with menopause is that we are going really low on estrogen. So I would definitely encourage that that you do a lot more weight bearing exercises, that you're keeping track of your calcium and vitamin D, because there's a lot of bone loss that is happening at this moment. In terms of other symptoms, a lot of people experience different kinds of symptoms, like hot flashes, constipation. So with those, that would I would have to ask you more detailed questions about your overall lifestyle to correct those. But this is where I'm saying that this is a good time to talk to an RD. However, if you need more information, I do have a blog on my website where I've written in detail about menopause. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. And then you mentioned something about also being in bed, the screen time, and then you said something about the causes something. I did not catch that phrase.
So when you're in bed and when you start, browsing, I don't know, Facebook, for instance. So what happens is that your body. So I was talking about circadian rhythm. So when our
Yeah.
bodies, like we adjust to the light, and when it's dark, your body naturally wants to go to sleep. That's just how it is. That's just how we evolved. But when we do screen time, our brain goes in a different mode, because now it is very active, it is very engaged in something at a time which is not supposed to do that. And so what happens is that when you try to browse at bedtime, your brain is going to stay awake longer or stay active longer, and the circadian rhythm is disrupted, and that eventually causes, you don't feel fresh in the morning. A lot of people complain that they have this, when they wake up in the morning, they feel tired. Instead of feeling fresh and happy, they're tired. So that kind of stuff happens. And that's what I was talking about.
Okay. Um, I know I don't want to keep up everybody else's questions. I have a few more, but anybody
Go
can go
ahead.
if they want to.
Yeah. Um, Hi, Richa. My name is Sri Vidya. You touched briefly about intermittent fasting. So, can you just, with our Hindu culture, fasting is an integral part, but it's not very easy to persuade everybody. But when you have a client, what is the best way when in your professional judgment, you feel that yes, this person should go in for intermittent fasting? So do you check with the referring physician, or how do you make that determination, and how do you persuade that patient that in the right direction?
Okay, so typically intermittent fasting is the decision of an individual patient. It's not really up to the physician or me to do that. But so these are two different things that you've asked me. In general, whenever I get a client or a patient, I do not take them without their medical record. I need their medical record, because without your reports, I don't know what is going on inside your body, right? So intermittent fasting, at least here in the United States, it's not really a decision that I make for you. It is more over that people come to me and say that I'm doing this. So if I feel that a person is already at a normal weight, I might in fact try to talk them out of it, that you might not want to do that because you don't need it. For people who are struggling with weight loss, though, like who are obese, and who do not have any other health problems, those are the people that we say that you can go in for intermittent fasting. So if that person, let's say, does not have dyslipidemia, that person does not have diabetes, only then we say that, yeah, okay, this might work. And when we say intermittent fasting, we're not talking about the fasting that we do in the Hindu culture. We're talking about skipping a meal in the day, not skipping all the meals in the day and then eating at night. That's not what we're talking about. Okay. Did I answer your question, or were you asking me something else?
Yeah, I mean, how do you persuade, like, if you, so you said it is their personal choice, so it's not necessarily like a medical determination. Okay,
It's not.
thank you. Hi.
Hi, Richa. This is
Hi.
Chelvi Gopinath from India.
Hi,
Okay,
Chelvi.
hi. Now, this is actually an extension of both the questions, the first and the second. This is for menopause again. As you rightly mentioned, there are umpteen changes that the body goes through. One of that I find, I mean, it's pretty common among my friends also, is cellulite. Okay, so what I would like to ask you is, of course, I do run and do various exercises, but I'm also at that phase. I mean, at this point, and I would like to know if cellulite can be handled with weight training. Is that the right thing? Or do I need to increase the number of hours that I need to exercise? That is one. Then
Mhm.
another extension to Srividya's question is, there are like umpteen advices on the net saying you should be having shorter meals, like say once in 2 hours. Or there is another version saying thrice a day is ideal. Then when you go into intermittent fasting again, you'll be able to do only 2 meals a day. You understand? So how do you split your intake again there? So which do you think is ideal, or is it again individualized program?
Okay, so the first question that you asked me was how can cellulite be tackled? So you're right, cellulite can be tackled by doing very specific strength training exercises. You do not have to increase the number of hours that you are exercising, but there are certain exercises that focus on the glute max, and we typically ask people to do that. That being said, cellulite is a very, it's something that most women face, and a lot of the times as we age, sometimes it is not something that can completely go away. So, and in fact, I would like to point this out that even athletes at some point, once they retire, they seem to be struggling with this issue. So it's not something unnatural, but yes, you can definitely reduce cellulite with specific strength training, definitely. The other question that you asked was about, what kind, so for intermittent fasting, what is ideal? Um, so here's the thing, it is individualized. It depends on like a lot of factors actually. It depends on a person's blood profile, it depends on their medical history, it depends on what their current weight is. So when we tell people to eat smaller snacks distributed every 2 hours, it is not a recommendation we make for every single person out there. Okay, we do that only for people who are for diabetic people, for instance. Like we need to do a carb control, so we need to say that we are controlling your carbohydrate, but we also need your body to get energy. So we calculate that for them, that how many grams do they need to eat. So that's the kind of stuff we do when we're telling people to eat every 2 hours. When that is used as a generalized advice, so that's the other thing. So there is a lot of people say a lot of things on the internet. There's no basis for it, honestly. So the basis is all you, it's all about you, what you are, what is your history, and what would you need that would benefit you the best. That's how it works in this field. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Hi, this is Meeta. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I'm asking for my mother. She's 79 years old and she is pure vegetarian. She will not even eat eggs. So how does she overcome her vitamin B12 deficiency?
Okay, so for senior citizens, we definitely, now this is something you would want to talk to her physician, because they might recommend very specific supplements, not the OTC ones, but depending on her blood levels, they might actually give her prescribe vitamins for her, because she is 79, you said, right?
Yeah,
And in terms of food, dairy products also have some amount of vitamin B12. I don't know if she is a vegan or if she's vegetarian, but if she's...
Yeah. No, she's not a vegan, but
So
she does not eat much. So she will just drink 1 cup of milk in the morning and have some yogurt with her food, but that's it.
okay, so the other thing I would say, so again, I don't know your mother, but the other thing I would say is that there are a lot of supplements for older people out there like OTC. No, when I say supplements, I don't just mean multivits, they are like energy drinks and things like that.
Yeah.
But this is something you might want to talk to either her physician or somebody who knows her health history, or if you're seeing a registered dietitian who has her health history, she might be able to help you better with that. But yes, there are options available for her out there.
Yeah, but so like in food, how can is there nothing she can do through her diet? Like she just has that every day they eat moong dal every day, and that's her very steady food. Like she will eat 1 katori of moong dal, 1 katori of sabzi, and 1 roti.
Okay.
That is her very staple diet. She does not go here and there.
So moong dal is not exactly a source of B12. Unfortunately, B12 comes from animal products. So if she can add, like a dairy serving, yogurt, buttermilk, something at every meal, that actually might help her. Definitely.
Okay.
And if
All
she
right.
likes to snack on, I don't know, like fortified cereals or something like that, that might actually work too, because they are fortified with vitamin B12. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
So this is Savita again. This is a great segue to talk about specifically the Indian diet. It's been, it's very carbohydrate concentrated. So, we think we're eating, great things like moong dal, this dal, turmeric, whatever, and that we're getting all the nutrition. So if we were to sign up for your, your program, is that something that you work with them in order to make sure? And then do you give, substitution as to how they can get that, that round, plate with all the things that the Indian diet needs?
Yes. So, so that is basically what my program does, is that I individualize and customize around what your needs are. And I get a lot of Indian patients for the same reason that you mentioned, that, when you go to see, and this is the problem that most Indian people encounter here, is that when you go to see a dietitian here, their extent of Indian, the knowledge of Indian food is like one roti or, whatever, but they wouldn't really know what you're saying when you're talking about all these different foods. So yes, I do have a lot of Indian patients, and that's exactly what I do in a program, is that, let's say, and a lot of Indian people struggle with diabetes, type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, they're somewhere there. Okay, so what I do is that when my first meeting with every individual who signs up for my program is free. It's like a 10 to 15 minute encounter where I actually try to assess what your difficulty is and what problem we're trying to tackle here. And then I kind of go over, the requirements that I have from you, like your labs, your lab reports and things that you can, which if you're on my chart, I don't know what health systems you're from, but you can just get them from your doctor and forward them to me. That's totally fine with me. And then we actually go over, I actually educate you based on your diet, and this is what is happening. So this is good, this is not really helping, something like that. And I actually let you make that decision, that you want to do like just a one-time appointment with me where you want me to go over your diet and point out that this is something that you might want to skip, or this is something that you might want to add, or do you want me to go over a full program? So that's really your choice. But yeah, that's basically what I do.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Hi, I have a question. I'm a vegan. And I wanted to know, getting the vitamins and minerals that are necessary for the body, is it diet related, or would you suggest multivitamins or individual vitamins? What is your suggestion to get the right?
So here's the thing. So with vegan diet, what we do is we try to get most of your nutrients. Vegan diets, we are a little more specific because we want you to get most of your nutrients from your food. unless it is some food like B12, for instance, is something that you just get out of animal products, then what are you going to do? So we try to work around those things. Okay. Supplements are something that, again, OTC supplements is not, it's up to the patient whether or not they are already taking it, maybe because their physician recommended it. I don't know that part of it, but let's say you are taking supplements, then I'm not going to mess around with those. But typically for vegans, we want you to get your nutrients from food, because at the end of the day, supplements are still chemicals and they are not 100% bioavailable. You don't get 100% of what you're eating from a supplement. So if that is making any sense, so that's what we do.
So you don't suggest a multivitamin if you have a good rounded health diet?
No, but I will, again, I would need to see your blood work for that. I would need to see if you are particularly deficient in B12, in iron, in those things. Okay.
So just in general, would you suggest for anyone a multivitamin versus individual supplements? Is multivitamins good for
So
you?
I would definitely go for a multivitamin. I wouldn't go for individual supplements. That's just too many to take.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Richa, I have, Savita, Alkaji, do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I just, Richa, I want to know, do you see patients with early satiety who do not have any other pathology associated with it? Like they don't have, they're fine. They have just basic health concerns, highly elevated, elevated hypertension, things like that, but they have early satiety. Do you see such patients?
I have had a few patients with early satiety, but yeah, I mean, we've worked together. A couple of them, ultimately, it did turn out that they had some sort of a gastrointestinal issue eventually, but yeah, I've definitely looked at them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe,
sorry, Richard.
maybe to
Sorry.
expand on what early satiety, if you want to explain that to them. Sorry, I threw in a medical terminology. I don't know if everybody here understood.
Of course, I'll explain that, but Chelby, were you
Thank
saying something?
Sorry, Richa. This is again with this one, supplements.
Okay.
What I understand from what you said is Savita had asked you if it is necessary to have supplements. And I understand that you encourage people to get it entirely from the food that they eat. And if necessary, not to go towards supplements. Am I right? Please
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong. Yep.
Yes,
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Sri Vidya was talking about early satiety. Satiety means how early you feel full. Like some people will eat a little bit and then they tend to feel full. Now, this is typically something that we observe when people have gastrointestinal issues or as when they start getting a little older. So that's what she was talking about.
Yeah, I had a question, like it's Manjula here. Like we know, like pretty much like, okay, we have to eat like the food plate, the balanced food, the vegetables, protein and everything. The problem or the issue is like the meal planning or the meal prepping with everything. That's where it goes off. Like it might go off like for a week and then it comes back to normal. So and also with the family, like each person is like different taste buds and different things, but in your program, whatever you said online, does that have like kind of like a some kind of recipes and the meal planning basically, like I mean, it's not just okay you have to eat fruits and vegetables, but at least like for a week to 2 weeks or 3 weeks, like do you help in putting like, instead of just telling that, oh, you have to eat this these are your protein choices, instead of telling that like with our Indian food or anything
Right.
similar to do like that, do you have anything something like that?
So I couldn't put recipes in this because, as you know, that the Indian food choices vary so much by state, by everything. So what one person might go for, somebody else is not going to go for that. So that becomes a bit difficult. And that's something that that's one thing that I would do individually, like, assessing what your family typically eats, and then we can go over those recipes. That's something I do in person. The program that I mentioned that is online on Amazon that you can find, it lists an option for you that, okay, these are the protein choices you have, these are the, and then and it also teaches you how to combine them into or build them into your recipes that you're already, whatever that you do at home right now. So it kind of guides you. It's more like a generic plan where it kind of guides you into how to plan it together. Because the question that you asked earlier, it's very important that what happens with all of us is that we don't have the time to sit and think about this every day, unless you have some kind of you have to organize that part of it, and that is difficult. I get that. So that is where this book actually helps you, because you yourself will be writing down the recipes that you use in that book, and then you are going to follow exactly that. It makes it a lot simple. That is what that book is about. Okay, but if you're talking about individual recipes, I have a lot of resources, but I can do them based on what you want. Like, if let's say you're eating like dosa and idli kind of stuff, or are you eating roti kind of stuff? So it depends.
Okay.
Richa or Rika? Okay.
Yeah, it's Richa.
Richa, okay. I'm Lakshmi. I just joined a bit late, so I'm not very sure whether you had a talk on food around menopause for people with undergoing menopause, or pre and post menopause food consumption. What would be the best choices, or how we can do something about it?
Right. So Savita just asked me that question a little bit earlier. So I'm going to talk about that one more time. See, for menopause is a very long phase. It's not just, okay, one day it's there and one day it's not. So, and the reason for that is that we go through a lot of physiological changes. Importantly, our estrogen levels start to drop. And when those start to drop, our bone density starts to decline. So the two most important things for menopause is to focus on your vitamin D and calcium. If you are a vegetarian who drinks, who's okay with dairy, then I would definitely ask you to up that intake. And the other thing I would say is do weight-bearing exercises. In terms of exercises, I want you guys to be more into weight training, like dumbbells, this and that, because you don't want to, otherwise it gets really difficult eventually. So those are the key things I would say to anybody in menopause. But otherwise, in general, when you're talking about food, then I would definitely, the other things apply, like reducing your fat intake, reducing excessive carbohydrate in your diet. Those things also apply, but those are more personalized depending on your current blood profile and your weight and everything. But your vitamin D, calcium, and weight-bearing exercises are the three key things you need to remember for any stage of menopause. Okay.
Thank you. And one more thing, the bloating.
Yeah.
The bloating and the flatulence. Anything in particular, any advice for that?
Yeah, so if it is menopause related, because during menopause, a lot of people go through constipation, bloating, flatulence, all of that. If it is menopause related, then I would say that you need to increase your water intake. You need to make sure that you're not eating too much sodium. So keep your sodium intake less than 2,300 milligrams a day. That is like 1 teaspoon of salt has about 23 milligrams of sodium. Okay, so I would definitely say that. But again, I don't know your medical history. I don't know if I should, if low sodium is the way for you to go, or if you have some other condition going on, which is why that is contributing to the bloating. I don't know that at this point. Okay, so when we go towards menopause, it's not just the one system. There can be, other systems that can also have something going on with them, which we don't know. So this is something I would like to evaluate before I give you like a firm answer on that. I would need medical records to answer that question. Okay.
Thank you. Can I have another question?
Of course.
Okay. This is about vitamin A consumption for a better vision or whatever. What is how could we go about that for better vision?
So increasing vitamin A. So vitamin A is very rich in foods, all the red and orange kind of foods that you see, oranges, peppers, carrots, tomatoes, all of those. So you can, as long as you're including all those vegetables in your diet, you're going to get a lot of vitamin A. Remember that I would not recommend supplementing vitamin A because it is one of the very toxic vitamins, so you don't want to eat too much of that. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
sure. Savita or Alka, can we take more questions, or how is this going to work?
I think we slotted the session for an hour and we are at 12:01 now. So I think unless somebody has another question, I think we would.
Let's take one more. Yeah, if anybody has one more question, we can.
I have one more, since we are talking so much about menopause, and I think so many of us who are here, I've recently heard from I'm going through menopause, but I'm not feeling as many hot flashes I had in the past. But it's a general question: is food directly related to trigger the menopause episodes? Are there certain foods? What is your take on that?
No, not really. See, menopause by itself is a very complex physiological thing that is going on. So it's not exactly any foods that are specifically going to trigger anything off. That's not how it is. But yes, I would say one thing is that if you lack a certain, a few nutrients out of your diet, then that might not be a good thing for like you might get more symptoms. Like I said, if you're eating a food that is rich in saturated fat, or foods that are not balanced in the nutrients or the micronutrients, like all the vitamins and minerals that you need at this point, or if your food lacks fiber, or if you do not drink enough water, then these things are definitely going to exacerbate the symptoms. But if you're getting all of that, then it should help with the symptoms, definitely. Okay.
Thank you so much, Richa. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay, thank you so much, Richa, for conducting this session for us. It is recorded, so if anybody, we will be putting it on our Facebook. So if anybody's missed any of it from the beginning, or if they joined late, you're happy to kind of look at that video when we post it on the Facebook.